Got my G.I. Joes, got my comic books, watching cartoon episodes. Watch me go and box, dead stock, Jaren on his toes. Watch me go and lock a whole new world you never know. On my freaking block, on my block, anything Joe's. Roll my badger into work today. Yes, sir, no, sir. I can't call this work today. I'm too clutch. Ain't no pun intended. Call me sir today. Check the prices out. My collection feeling bird today. Anything Joe.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Anything Joe's, a collaborative journey through the world of G.I. Joe. My name is Greg Engel.
And I'm Jaren Decker.
And we'll be your host today. Today's the day, finally, after all this hype, we're finally ready to start watching G.I. Joe, the animated movie. A movie that I've seen many, many times over the years, and a movie that Jaren has never seen. Jaren, am I correct in assuming do you know anything about this movie at all?
The only thing that I think I kind of know is that they almost pull an Optimus with Duke, but then they don't.
Well, yes. Okay, good. That's what a rare treat to be able to. I want to live vicariously through you in this movie. A movie that I feel is especially tailored towards your unique taste in the G.I. Joe universe. I did want to do just a flat viewing commentary. I wanted to, because there's so many of those out there. So I tried to spice it up a little bit. And what I did was I wanted to restore the original way that the G.I. Joe movie was viewed by almost everybody, which is on television in 5-part syndication. They broke the movie up into 5 parts. They have a Sarge intro and outro for each part, and I thought that would give us ample amount of time to discuss the numerous things that are happening in this movie. It's a significant shift in continuity for the entire animated universe. It's truly the line that you had to draw in the sand between the comic and the cartoon being two completely different things. So I tried to add some stuff in that I thought would make it a little bit more unique. The first thing is I was able to find the actual opening and closing for the first episode that features Sarge. And that is thanks to RetroOntario.com, who have a big logo on the thing, but they're the only people I've ever seen that use this. So shout out to them. In addition to that, I was able to find an original airing of at least the first part. I've actually found the movie shown multiple times in different ways. It seems like at least, especially during holiday seasons, it was aired in its entirety as a movie with commercials, which was a little bit less of what I was looking for, but did enable me to find actual commercials that aired in between during the commercial breaks during a G.I. Joe movie presentation. So I left them, which we'll watch them. So there's a commercial break that has authentic commercials from like 86 or 87 whenever this was aired on TV. The other commercial break had been cut out. It like chops off the end of a Transformers commercial, which I did leave in. And so I thought to fill that in, I'd do something else we haven't really done, which is I threw in some G.I. Joe toy commercials from around the same time, and those come to us, of course, thanks to 3D Joe's, who's like the repository of this sort of stuff. So our second commercial break, we'll take a look at some toys from this era. Yes, I'm very excited. I'd also like to say at the top of the show that I was shocked to find that the other Sarge opening and closings are seemingly not available out there, and I took to Twitter to find, to gather more information, and I have yet to find these specific ones. If you are familiar with what I'm talking about, a live action intro and outro with Sarge for episodes 2 through 5. I've got the opening of 2, and that's it. Please reach out to us in any format, because I would love to find these and try to restore the way that we originally viewed them. But at least for now, we have the first part, and so we're going to watch it, and then we're going to dive right in. And we got a lot to talk about. If you've never seen the movie before, then it's an enriching experience, and I think you'll truly enjoy it. If you've seen the movie and it's been a long time, then I'm here to inject some positivity into the movie. The movie is widely derailed, and has been since I was a child, as being a little bit too far gone. And only recently it seems like the nostalgia of it is enough to maybe catapult it back into the limelight as being something that it seems like people are starting to remember a little bit more fondly. So if you're looking for the positivity, we're here for that as well. But lastly, if you're a diehard movie hater and there's nothing that can change your mind, don't worry. In our typical viewing fashion, we will still rip apart all the flaws with little or no reserve. So with that in mind, let's get started with G.I. Joe, the animated movie, Part 1.
WUTV, Buffalo 29.
Good old Buffalo 29.
Good old Buffalo 29.
A kid hut! All right, at ease. Then on second thought, maybe not. I'm Sergeant Slaughter, and I got some real hairy action heading your way. Action that would send most guys screaming for their mama. But then the Joes ain't most guys, are they?
They're using all kinds of footage for this.
Over the next 5 days, you're gonna see the greatest G.I. Joe adventure of all time. With the greatest roll call of Joes ever. Hawk! Duke!
Pass me through. We've got to warn him.
And Roadblock!
Are those the 4 greatest Joes
even
in
your
this
old
movie?
friend, the Sarge. My job is to whip you into shape. And I'm talking whip, plus some new Joes.
Okay, guys, prove us rawhides aren't raw.
Dang. Get it, Chuck.
And a brand new enemy.
Organisms of
Just
Cobra
don't lift your head.
detach and defend to the death.
So grab your helmets and buckle on your bandoliers. Because here comes the first chapter of G.I. Joe the movie. Yo, Joe!
All right, so before we get into the real meat and potatoes of this bad boy, I just want to take a minute to say that I have a lot of fond memories of those Sarge openings. In fact, one of the challenges of breaking this into 5 parts was trying to remember where do they stop at, because they don't, they follow a kind of a specific half an hour time frame, but depending on the commercial breaks, you never really knew. So I'm working on that also. I've made an educated guess based on my very, very old memory where I think I remember the fade outs are. And based on when they took commercial breaks when they aired the full-length movie altogether. Now, before we get into the opening, which is unique in and of itself, is the opening is considered, rightfully so, the greatest animated G.I. Joe project ever done, despite the fact that it's only like a 60, 90-second little thing. It's got an extended version of the opening theme that rules. It rules so hard. And the actual opening is just this like short combat scenario with Cobra Commander at the Statue of Liberty. And this was added for a couple of reasons. I guess it just depends on who you ask. But Larry Houston, who did a lot of storyboarding and work on the G.I. Joe cartoon throughout its entire line, is not solely responsible, but he's the figurehead of this operation. Even Buzz Dixon on the commentary says, I didn't have anything to do with this. It rules, but it's all Larry's work. And it's added as sort of like a hype point before the movie actually starts, despite the fact it doesn't really tie into the movie, in a tangible way. So let's watch this truly amazing moment in animated history. The last Sunbow production of a G.I. Joe animated. I had read online that someone had hypothesized that this was the 100-year anniversary of the Statue of Liberty, which would have been taking place in 1986. And that's why there are fireworks and balloons and a camera crew. Got teabagged by that Cobra officer just then.
Can you imagine being just one of the regular parachute guys? Like, everybody else has all those other cool things, and you're just, like, sitting there waiting.
Yeah, just drop them in. Seems okay when it's just civilians. The lettering,
that's an
sorry,
expensive camera.
I'm going to do our first pause. The lettering on that that camera says WD&J, or it's WDONJ, and I think that's a reference to Don Jurwitz, who's the co-producer and director of the movie. Just a fun little. I did a lot of research on this. I got a lot of little fun facts for you.
Is he holding a bazooka like one-handed?
I think it's some kind of laser cannon. I don't know. I mean, Flint just then was holding the barrel with both hands, so who knows? G.I. Joe guns don't work as well as they should.
This is intense.
Love that Cobra mothership.
Yeah, that thing's dope.
Look at all those fire bats in there. Cobra Commander himself doing the bomb arming, which seems very unlikely, but it's cool. That little bomb has been included as a toy in the modern line at least a couple of times. Just everybody's just hanging out on the Statue of Liberty fighting.
Oh, that's a cool little shot there.
Oh, there's a ton of stuff. That scene where Snake Eyes flips that dude out of that trouble bubble is awesome. Dude, there are so many characters just like around. It's like if you stop and look, I saw Airtight in a jetpack and Ripcord was there for a second. I mean, like everybody's going at it. It's so awesome. Bazooka trips, fires his bazooka, and hits that hydrofoil. All good stuff.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring.
I love like the bullet casings coming out when they shoot their lasers.
Yeah.
They have like lasers in the bullet shell.
This opening more than anything really showcases like the movie animation budget. It's not flawless, but it's so much better than a typical episode.
Way
dude.
higher, yeah.
We were gonna get a toy of that. Ah.
I'll never forgive him. You gotta burn that flag now. Down on the ground.
Please, from the America that brought you American flag beer koozies, they ain't burning that flag, buddy. There's an old thing in the, I guess maybe it's in the Constitution where it's like, don't put the flag on non-flag stuff, and then Bud Light's like, we put it on everything. We got it on curtains, we got it on cigarette wrappers, you name it.
It's on our swim trunks.
So that opening it truly stands the test of time. It's exceptional. Like it's just a hardcore piece of action, like just a real quick skirmish over an iconic situation with a way above budget animation, and it's I'd be hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't like it. I had read online, and I'd never heard that until I researched it this week, that they suppose that this opening is actually happening directly before the movie starts, because as we're getting ready to see, Serpentor's getting ready to lay into the Cobra Command for being like failures, and so they're saying, yeah, this was the failure that just happened. They botched the Statue of Liberty, celebration. They couldn't even do that right. It makes sense actually. So it makes it. I don't think it was scripted that way at all. As a matter of fact,
we get this far just for you to spoil me that Serpentor's in this. I can't believe you.
We did all the homework on Serpentor. Of course he's in it. The whole reason we didn't go to the movie is because I was like, he's not going to understand the role of Serpentor.
Yeah, but I didn't know he was in it for sure.
Oh Lord. This movie was originally scripted by Ron Friedman, who did tons of work on the G.I. Joe animated series as well. And when he presented it to Hasbro was kind of unhappy with it. And so they called in Buzz Dixon, who we all know also did tons of work on the cartoon, is still well known, still speaks about it to this day, is the only person that has done a commentary on the movie, like officially. It's on the Blu-ray. And Buzz said they called him in, and they said, we'd like you to look this script over. Buzz looked it over and said, well, I think I could do something different. And they said, okay, we'd like you to do that. So Buzz reworked the script significantly. They left almost everything on the floor, and only the character of Nemesis Enforcer, who was like a fan favorite, got carried over into this new story. Despite all that, Ron Friedman has a thing in his contract that said, I get the sole story writing credit. So despite the fact they didn't really write a whole bunch of this, probably for the best initially, when they wanted to kind of like distance himself from it, he still gets the primary title. But we understand now that Buzz did most of the heavy lifting on this, for better or for worse. The voice cast in this is, of course, exceptional for its time. Don Johnson, of Miami Vice fame at this time, Burgess Meredith, who was in the original story of G.I. Joe, and of course played the Penguin in Batman, which is what I know him for.
Say, I know that name. I didn't know why I knew it, but yeah, that
He's
tracks.
Rocky's trainer in Rocky. I mean, like, those are probably some of his more noted roles. Does a great job in this, giving a voice to a very unusual character. Here's another great shot of the extremely large Terrordrome. Look how many fire bats are coming out of that. You get one fire bat. You could easily fit 150 in that one little thing. I love the scale of the Terrordrome because they treat it like one gigantic key base, not that like there's a whole bunch of them. This is also a cool way of seeing, like, look at all the security on Cobra Island. Something we don't really get a real scrutinized look at. They got people on patrol. Look at that little snake gate down there. Like, there's all kinds of stuff cooking. Even all those little pods on the outside. Another great look at the interior. This cool throne room. We've upgraded to, like, Crimson Guards as the kind of the standard guard now.
Blunderers! Fools! We possess power greater than any on Earth. Yet our conquests are stripped from us on every front.
There's our boy.
All of our boys. Pretty much everybody that's got a unique codename is there.
Yeah, but Xandar's actually in it.
Cobra Commander's got a cool look here. We see this off and on in the cartoon, but check out the, like, little scepter with the gem on the end. He's got that cape. These are not part of the figure. They were just doing their own thing. It's a great look. It's disappointing that we didn't get to see this more often, in my opinion.
Lies not within us, but within you. Your leadership has been pompous, pusillanimous, pathetic. What did he say? He's combating.
It's really hard for me. I'm going to probably have to do it anyway. I should have said this beforehand also. This is, and I would argue with anybody this, the most quotable G.I. Joe product of all time. I know that I've not seen this movie 100 times, and yet I can recite so much of it by heart. There's so many great jokes and just like one-liners in here that I say pretty much every single day.
Yes, leadership is at the very heart of this matter, but it is not mine that is inadequate, Cobra Commander. It is yours. Your ego-driven stupidity has converted victory to catastrophe for the last time.
Go ahead. Make me the scapegoat. My loyal subordinates could testify to my...
If we learned anything from Arise, Serpentor, Arise, it's that Cobra Commander actually gave that to Serpentor as an option. He said, you need me around to be your scapegoat. And so we've talked about this, especially during Arise, Serpentor, Arise as well, that over the course of Season 2, it seems like Cobra's getting a little tired of Serpentor. He's maybe not as great as they were hoping he was going to be, and they still aren't really getting a lot of victories under their belt. On top of that, especially by the end of Season 2, they're really laying out that Serpentor is turning Cobra into a bit of a cult, which is what Buzz said they kind of wanted to do. They were kind of leaning into that. And with the coil being introduced, a very cult aspect in the cartoon that did not get fleshed out because it was in the very last episode, it makes sense that that was kind of like how they were turning the corner.
Stewardship of Cobra, but you don't have the courage to let them speak.
Wrong again. Defend him if you can.
Indeed they shall. You first, noble Destro.
Militarily speaking, it's only fair to say that Cobra Commander
is a world-class buffoon.
Baroness, Dr. Mindbender, brave Zaymont and Tomac.
Eyeball in the water.
Destro,
Someone defend me.
Assassination of my character go unchallenged, will you?
Certainly not. Destro forgot to mention your frequent displays
Of
of cowardice.
It's funny that Cobra Commander would think that anybody would come to his side. There's no loyalty in Cobra, and it's not really a secret that they don't like him, and they just kind of always go along with it. So I feel like he should have known by now that really nobody's got his back, that he's got a lot of heavy lifting to do to kind of get back into control. A situation which is only going to get worse for him, I'm afraid.
The heck is this thing?
So here's our first look at Pythona.
Oh, it's Pythona.
I have the weird purple bubbles didn't give it away.
Oh, get it? 'Cause she looks like a snake.
Oh, I never put that together before. Pythona's got a lot of crazy Cobra Law inventions that we never see and will never see again.
We had won,
but it did give them an option to be like, here's a bunch of crazy new stuff that's not just like, it's not technology driven, it's like a weird science fiction fantasy.
Insufficient. Inexcusable.
Unsubstantiated fantasy. Lies! Lies!
We talk a lot about the G.I. Joe soundtrack, or I do at least, because I'm extremely fond of it and have been forever. But no piece of G.I. Joe, and also I should mention that if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me in the comments if so, I know they used a lot of Transformers music at the same time as this. But the movie especially, I feel like they used a lot of the same soundtrack because you hear some background stuff that I had never heard before that I associate with G.I. Joe because I never really watched Transformers. All that to say that this piece of music that's coming up next which is most prominently featured here. It's used in the cartoon off and on, but it's really a focal point here, is my single favorite piece of G.I. Joe cartoon background music ever. I listen to it all the time, non-ironically, because it rules. On top of that, it is the score to one of the coolest infiltration scenes.
Intruder alert! Sector 45A! Battle stations!
Interesting that the Televipers are just, I guess, monitoring all kinds of comms at this time. Hey, Gary's screaming again. Somebody go check it out. I guess Pythona's claws have some kind of acid in them. That's an extremely, thick steel door. And so, there has to be an agent there that would, I guess, enable them to pierce, and it leaves that goo behind. Again, we're in a kind of an undetermined area. They don't really elaborate on any of this stuff. These things that she's using. That's just my best guess. Is that her nails are not strong enough to just flat out cut through that door. Yeah, see all that stuff? It could be melting, I guess, but I think the acid would be cooler.
She's so quick.
Yeah. These guys are just like Cobra mechanics. You don't really see that design hardly ever. They look like snakelings a little bit, but they're wearing blue instead of black.
They serve under the single Techno Viper.
Of course.
Maybe an assassination attempt. Serpentor must stay here. We will intercept the intruder.
I will meet this intruder head on!
No, we must protect you.
Without you, there is no Cobra!
Yes! Yes! If something happened to Serpentor,
Just really hide your feelings there, Cobra Commander. They're definitely going to fall for that.
Follow me!
I've always loved this sharp contrast between Serpentor, who's like, let's go into battle, and Cobra Commander, who's like, you guys go take care of that for me. Look how thick that is. I'm just saying, those nails are tough.
More melting.
Love all of this. That, again, also backs up the, some kind of maybe acid or something. Those poor dudes. Those guys were, those dudes were literally point blank, and she was like, nah. Like, just Neo from the Matrix dodged them.
She's got Batman's cape. It's bulletproof.
Cobra Commander sees the assassin, sees an opportunity to help her basically. And is like, let's go the other way.
Intruder approaching Serpentor's war room. Seal all sectors.
love this little detail where she's running through the walls, and it's like such a. First of all, love this entire security system. It's just like wall, 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 wall. It's like you're going into the Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie room, and there's just a bunch of doors that close nonstop. Serpentor has his own security system, like shoots these weird darts out. Big fan of that shot where it like cuts just the edge of her cape, just like just a little quick fragment. A lot of these like crazy close calls. Here's the other button, and that makes him hide. One button for darts and one button to run. So you got any other buttons over there, big man? Oh, he pressed the dart button again, but it makes the lights come on if there's no darts in, I guess. We've talked about this before, but Serpentor's snakes, which are definitely alive, but can also be somehow transmogrified into a solid spear.
I command.
And they just replace each other.
Pythona is awesome.
I have
Such a great character that we did not get a figure of, which I'll complain a lot more about later.
In a dream. A vision.
In a memory, great Serpentor. I am part of your destiny. When you were created, my face was etched into your soul. I am Pythona. And now it is time for you to fulfill
With this
your
seashell.
destiny. Behold, the broadcast energy transmitter.
I don't know what that
Clam
is.
that does holograms?
Yeah, a clamogram. Got a clamogram for you here. All right, here's our first commercial break.
Will return after these messages. It's coming soon, a world where everything runs on air. So air is more precious.
Air is more precious than gold.
But in Airlandia, the tyrants of wind control the air, and only a rebel band of heroic
What
air
the heck?
raiders
Those things
have
are
the power to
sick.
stop them. The incredible new Air Raiders. It's coming soon from the makers of G.I. Joe.
Well, that kid died. So there's a lot of commercials for Air Raiders in this one specific airing. I guess they were making a big push for it at this time. I grew up during this time, have no memory of this toy at all, so it must have been a pretty big flop. I will agree that they look pretty cool, and the animation in that commercial, I mean, I'm just taking a guess, but it looks like it was probably also animated by Sunbow. So that all looks really cool. The toy itself, I'm not sure about. That part where the rock is like floating on air, I'm like, if I know a lot about toy commercials of the 80s, it's that they will disappoint you in real life. But that's one of the few toy commercials that was actually nested into this airing. It's funny what they would show for commercials, you know, for a kid's audience at that time.
Introducing Torpedo Run, a Floor Wars game from Milton Bradley.
Dive! Dive! Enemy fleet attacking! Man your battle stations! Fire 1! Fire 2! Our destroyer's been hit! Red alert! Red alert!
So,
the flagship's
basically Battleship for kids with ADHD.
We're doomed! Fire all remaining torpedoes!
Battleship that you have to wear safety glasses to play.
Yeah.
On your floor. Play Torpedo Run, new from Milton
I give them
That
props
actually
first
looks
of
like
all.
fun too.
Yeah, okay, so first of all, it does look pretty sick. Probably doesn't work that well because the little discs probably, first of all, you got to be a pretty sharp shot, even from across the floor there. Did want to give a shout out to the term Floor Wars, which I think is an exceptionally good term. And yes, the concept of this is sound, but I bet it was hard to play. This is another thing I don't remember at all.
And those things probably got lost all the time.
A double pleasure's waiting for you.
Now, this is a commercial that I know very well because it aired all the time on Saturday morning cartoons. And not only that, but the term Double Mint Twins was like, lasted forever, I guess. It became like part of it was a commonly used term. I bet if you're born a twin and you're an actor, this was like the height of what you could hope for. Those guys didn't really look like twins, though. They just looked like they wanted to date twins. But yes, that commercial I remember a lot. Double Mint Twins was like around for a long, long, long time. I kind of have a very vague memory of that exact commercial.
The time is now to buy carpeting during Hermax 4 for 1.
Hermax, Carmat Mars, 4 for 1.
Free financing. This
20% down. That seems like a good deal.
rows of
I think a lot of
carpeting,
kids saw
padding,
this and were like,
installation,
Mom,
and 6
Dad,
months
we need
free
new carpet
financing.
real bad.
All in one low
It's for
Hermetic
Floor
price.
Wars.
Look for the long
Buy the
Look at
Floor
that!
Wars.
Look at that
Where's
80s
your
carpet. Oh God!
We
We had some of this in our.
taken some good naps on that carpet.
We had some strong 80s carpet in my mom and dad's like fancy room, like entertainment room, and I don't know if I've talked about this before. I know I've at least mentioned it in passing that my mom decided to get white carpet, which was cool because
Bold.
it looked like snow. So when I played in it, it was awesome. It was bad because my mother did not allow anyone in there ever for any circumstances because everything stains on a white carpet.
Now, back to
I'm pretty
G.I.
sure
Joe.
until like a year ago, my parents still had some of that carpet in there.
My mom was avid about pulling carpet up when we started getting older, and I did not like it. I liked having carpet on my feet as a kid.
Say to the guy, I don't care. We have to drive all night. We're going to be there by morning.
That's the first. I read that is the first time Quick Kick has had a speaking part since season 1 of the series, and it's the butt of a joke, but I guess it's more like a funny story because I can't make the joke up. I don't know what the start of that joke is.
That's funny.
But it's funny, apparently. This is the broadcast energy transmitter. The broadcast energy transmitter is a device that allows you to wirelessly power things and is, according to Buzz Dixon, roughly based off the works of Nikola Tesla, which makes a lot of sense. The broadcast energy transmitter did not get a toy or a vehicle or playset of any sort. I actually have a 3D printed broadcast energy transmitter that is, it's okay for a 3D printed product. It's actually pretty well detailed overall, but just like this one, there's really not a lot of there's not a lot that pops at it, right? You just paint it white, basically, except for the lights, and you're done. But it is a great, it's a cool looking piece. It's a well designed and is I really like you'll see the energy grid piece light up here in a bit, and it's super cool.
Catchy tune, isn't it, guys? One more time!
They can't hear you, mainframe.
Well, Dial Tone, they're gonna hear about the broadcast energy transmitter all over the world. Pure energy pumped through the air.
Pure energy. Bop, bop. All the Joes have a winter jacket on.
Works.
I like that they have kind of a universally issued coat.
They should have released a 5-pack.
Well, let's find out if
They did later in the modern line make a Arctic Dr. Mindbender. I just wanted to look at this formula that they have on here. BET operation F equals X dot P. What is that? A 0 in a parentheses AYY. Ready. Somebody, where are my mathematicians at? Somebody break that down into any logical calculation.
Could be the key to the world's
I'm
energy
just
crisis.
surprised we glossed over the fact that it cost $1 billion in 1986.
Yeah, of taxpayer dollars too. Make sure to clarify that they weren't paying for it.
Yeah. Did that little turd just try to cop a feel?
Enema bot activated.
I'll shut down and see if it stops.
Cross Country doesn't have a logo on the top of his hat.
Ah.
That's what you get for. Oh.
Yeah, there's like 100 of these.
Lord.
There's 100 of these stunts, and Cross Country outran them, and they did not try to shoot him. They were like, let him warn them. Who cares? What damage could it possibly do, right? This is the kind of ineffective leadership we're trying to solve here.
It's not like they have a device that can wirelessly power their things.
Yeah. Great at shooting vehicles, though, man. Look at them. They're blowing up everything, dude. That's got to be... I'm seeing a dozen Havocs get blown up here. That's a bummer. Dreadnoughts brought their own motorcycles. Yeah, the Thunder Machine. Another Havoc blown up. Quick Kick, you probably won't want to get in there. They are blowing up left and right. There is a critical design flaw. I know this is comic logic, but Quick Kick jumps into the gunner seat and is driving the Havoc for I mean, I'm assuming someone wasn't sitting in the Havoc waiting for a person that can fire this gun that only fires straight ahead to get in.
Maybe walking's better for my health.
Since when are you the nervous type? Yo, Joe!
They're after the BET. Fall back and regroup for counterattack.
It's funny that when G.I. Joe's getting it handed to them, they fall back and regroup. But when Cobra's getting it handed to them, they retreat. There's a clear, like, good guy, bad guy terminology there where they're like, we don't want kids to think that they ever retreat. They're just regrouping.
Can't believe all this just for a television channel.
I'm saying. I mean, you've seen the size of that Terrordrome. They probably need it just to power that. So, yes, they made this Cobra Commander in the Arctic suit, and they made that purple suit Dr. Mindbender in the modern line later on.
That's such a cool shot.
Yeah, lots of good cinematography in this.
The only one they haven't hit yet.
Yeah, shot the gun off the side. That's awesome. Also, okay, first of all, cool that Snake Eyes is driving, because in any other continuity, Snake Eyes would be like, he'd be slicing the stuns in half. All, you know how he is. They treat him like a superhero. So it's not only cool to see him driving, but it's cool to see Roadblock standing on the top of the canopy with his gun, which is pretty baller. 2 perfect shots. What are the odds? Only Snake Eyes.
Cover me. The BETs are only shot.
To do what?
Good question.
Cut him down.
Really like the purple. Oh, so that's extremely rare. All right, we've seen years of these guys never making connection. That's the first time. Yes, it's just a whoop, almost. But that's the first time we've ever even seen anything close to somebody getting shot, was Duke getting his jacket singed like that. Which,
because the jacket's thicker than his normal shirt.
Regardless, that's a cool, like, they're pushing it a little bit, right? They're like, we can do a little bit more because it's the movie. Because, again, remember when they made this, they anticipated that it would be a theatrical release. And we'll discuss later, they were pushing for like a PG-13 or like a hard, I don't know, maybe just a regular PG at that time.
Man with a problem, quick kick.
What are friends for?
2 more perfect shots with this forward-facing gun that only goes up and down. So, Jaren, you've raised a great question. What is Duke going to do with the BET that will save them? Just make electricity?
Maybe it has a function to take it away from the Cobra vehicles?
I've not seen that, but that is where my mind also went. The third option is he's going to fry them. I don't really know what his plan was there. Oh, you gotta hang her on. Hey guys, fun fact: if you try to pull a grenade pin out with your teeth, you will lose your teeth. It cannot be done. Not even the Rambo could. I mean, he did, but it cannot be done. Right,
yeah, imagine they don't make it that easy.
They do not. That is not. Yeah. They're like, yeah, this pin just falls out all the time, guys. If that happens, just throw it away. It'll just explode harmlessly. All right, Duke gets his original.
Screwed now.
Turns it on. Oh, okay, the pack rats. Somehow the pack rats are How do the pack rats automatically know, like... It's one thing to say, I turned them on. It's another thing to say, they also know exactly what to attack. We're all here together, but it knows only what Cobra targets look like. I'm not sure that logic is sound.
Treachery! We're being attacked from behind!
Dang, if only they had shot those things.
Yeah. Poor hapless Cobra Commander. Duke's loving it. Wham.
Oh, dang.
Seen this trick before? How about now? I love that the snake turns back. The snake turns back into a snake after he just basically got a concussion, I guess, from that miss. And then he's like, you know what? I'm out of here. It's just not worth it, guys. I'll see you back at the whatever they call a snake pit. I guess a snake pit. I'll see you guys back at the snake pit.
Do you think that's like the snake's version of retirement? When you get thrown, you just get to...
Yeah. Once you're thrown,
It's my time.
you're out of the service. And he replaced the snake already. How did that happen? He just pulls one out of his pocket. He's like, all right, Gary, you're up now. Finally,
That's what he
Gary.
did with Pythona. He
Yeah.
just pulled one out, and as
He
he
just
pulled
got
it,
another one.
just like...
Finally,
Crazy.
it's Gary's time to shine. I'll be the best neck piece you've ever seen.
Farewell, worm!
Oh, look at that pinky.
Now, we all know that should be a fried snake. There's no way he would have been able to hit the amount of current that they were suggesting. You could no prize it any way you want. You could be like the Sergeant Slaughter DNA makes him tougher, blah, blah, blah. But he should be crispy.
Serpentor is hurt. We must save him. Cobra!
Don't even finish that battle cry, lady.
What coward called retreat? Serpentor needs us. We can't.
These guys are so brave when Serpentor's in risk.
I know where we can find sanctuary.
Man, Xandar's getting all the love in this one.
Yeah, it's getting tons. It's his time to shine.
He's got about 7 seconds of screen time.
Cobra's through. What do we do?
I hate it, but we gotta split the force. Roadblock, form a unit to run down Cobra. The rest of us will take care of Serpentor and the BET.
You heard the man. Let's wreck us some reptile.
Duke's definitely never played D&D. Never split the party.
Yeah, well, that logic is sound.
A tan hut! G.I. Joe will be right back!
So, this is the commercial I was talking about earlier that get cut off at the very end. But I included it anyway, partially because that's gotta be that's more Sunbow animation.
Glad those monsters are on our side.
Now, I don't know if that's from... They could have actually used it in the cartoon. I actually don't know.
Deep in the jungle, you discover it, the Cobra Terradrome with gun emplacements almost everywhere and special base for refueling vehicles.
There he is!
The Cobra Terradrome is really incredible.
I like the kids are been miniaturized.
It's time to warn the Joes, but suddenly they launch the Firebat.
Hey, I've just noticed that in this particular commercial, and I don't know if that's something that was or ever planned, but the top of the Terradrome was rotating just then. You see that? I wonder if that's something that they were originally planning to do and then they got scrapped. I've never noticed that before. I included just a couple commercials that were relative to stuff that we're watching around this time, and obviously the Terradrome is one of them. I won't bore you guys with this story again, but the Terradrome was the only big G.I. Joe playset I had as a kid, so it always has a special place in my heart.
Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. Cobra Terradrome comes with Firebat and Pilot. Other figures and equipment sold separately.
Fearing Cobra Commander no longer has the ability to lead, Destro and Dr. Mindbender comb the tombs of the most evil leaders in history, and from their genetic tissues produce a composite clone, the ultimate Cobra Emperor, Serpentor. Introducing Serpentor.
Serpentor is very brown in this animation.
Serpentor, the most evil foe of G.I. Joe! G.I. Joe!
Write a theme song for Serpentor. It only needs to be about 5 words long.
Okay, at ease, we're back.
This is madness. Our men are half frozen. You'll kill us.
Frozen.
Pass up ahead. We'll find sanctuary on the other side.
God, the guy's walking. That's gotta be a bummer. Joes are just like, yeah, running away. We don't care. You're dead. This poor guy's in the back shooting too. The worst, the least used armament.
Hey, Governor, what's this all mean?
We are safe!
Zoranis, look at Zoran and Xandar's like all. Actually, they're all the dreadnoughts have like a crazy like fur. They're like, listen, we draw the lines at sleeves. No sleeves. I don't care how cold it is. It's a fashion statement. Except for Buzzer,
I like how
apparently.
Xandar has like the forearm one.
Yeah.
But it's still nothing on his actual arm.
And put his holster over top of the fur. There's a whole lot going on in the costume design department here. Oh, that's right. We're being followed. I just remembered. Whoa, they drove over that one. Yeah, get that hovercraft out, baby.
Take refuge in the grove!
That hovercraft is so cool.
Yeah, it is. I love the Havoc. It was a key. Wait a minute. That's the third stun you just rolled over Bigfoot style. Like, I'm having a hard time believing that it's got that much fortitude behind it.
What is this? The Twilight Zone?
Forget them redwood toadstools.
It's the Forest Moon of Endor.
Ah, here we go.
Roadblock.
Okay, so let's take a second because we're really getting into it now. That's our first look at Nemesis Enforcer, which I know you're familiar with, Jaren, because you have been reading the new Image comic where he's featured quite prominently. And this movie will definitely shed a lot of light onto like his origins. Well, I say that very loosely because Nemesis Enforcer doesn't really talk or do, we don't really learn a lot about his backstory, but we see kind of how he operates. On top of this, now here's another new character. This is the Cobra La Guard. Now, when the G.I. Joe movie was releasing a figure set, it wasn't like a whole line of figures. They released 2 3-packs. There's 3 new Joes, which we haven't seen yet, and then there's 3 new Cobras. And those 3 Cobras were Nemesis Enforcer, the Cobra La Guard, and Globulus, who we'll be seeing shortly. The Cobra La Guard is definitely a character that has grown on me a lot over the years. Buzz Dixon said in the commentary that this trilling noise that these guys make, this like la 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 la, was originally inspired by Lawrence of Arabia, where there's a group of women that are like sounding this bell, this really high-pitched bell to, I don't know if they're sounding an alarm or using it for defense. I haven't seen Lawrence of Arabia in forever. But they were trying to mimic that effect. And he said they never really got quite the high pitch that they were looking for. But I have to say that I actually think that the sound the Cobra La Guards make is really cool. It's inhuman in nature, so it's kind of creepy, and compared to the other battle cry in this movie, which is Cobra La 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 La, it's much cooler than that. I really like these weird swords that they're carrying, and I'm also especially fond of this battle sequence because they aren't represented as a bunch of chumps. They're actually pretty good fighters. Yeah, look at that, man. That's just like, they're very cool. Blocking shots, I mean, like they're extremely advanced fighters. They look much cooler here than the figure does, too. I'd actually really like to see this figure redone. I can imagine that a classified version is not an impossibility since we've seen other stuff from the movie at this point.
Yeah, give it to us.
Snowjob gets into Havoc and is kind of cleared the way.
Gotcha now, you slippery creep!
And we get a real look at just exactly how strong Nemesis Enforcer is. He can pick up the entire Havoc. He's superhuman level strength. And there's those crazy blades he has on his elbows which cut through the metal. I love this scene. Just throws him by the leg onto the ground.
Bravo, bravo, dear friends.
What's up, pal?
He knows these people?
You are as impressive as ever.
bit of a running theme now that Cobra Commander's not the head honcho. People just slap him around. If you're above him in rank, you can do whatever you want. You can only imagine being smacked by even a backhand by Nemesis Enforcer. A guy that just picked up a Havoc would probably send you running. I mean, like, you're gonna have to at least go see a chiropractor.
You struck me. Colobulus will have your head for this.
It is not his head you should be worrying about, Cobra Commander.
Pythona.
You will all come with me now.
No, no!
Nemesis Enforcer, fetch Cobra Commander.
Go get him.
Oh, he's so cool.
Yes, the design in the movie is on all these characters is great. The figures really didn't do them justice, I don't feel like.
The new one coming out looks sick.
All right, so I took an educated guess based on my very bad memory that the first episode maybe is to be continued there. If you have a better remembrance of it than I do, I would love to talk to you. Double fold if you have any of the original recordings that actually aired on the 5-day work. I'd love to see that content because I only have one specific memory that I remember where it started. So I'm just doing my best to I got to break it into 5 pieces. I'm making an educated guess based on where I think that is, and that's where I think it was. That's backed up a little bit because what we're getting ready to watch right now is the outro that I was able to find where Sarge is laying out what's to come in the next episode, which we're going to watch right now.
Take a good look at what your irresponsibility cost us.
Professor will escape. Then it's anybody's fault. So be here tomorrow and see who we've got lined up against Cobra. Yo!
So that's G.I. Joe the movie, part 1. Now it's still the early days. Basically, we really haven't got into the true thick of it, and I can safely say that in almost every episode there's some major crazy event that we'll have to talk about. But in terms of laying out the groundwork, for a 20-minute episode roughly, it does a good job, for something that wasn't intended to be broken into 5 pieces. I don't think they ever planned for it to. I'm sure they knew it would air on TV eventually. They probably didn't think it would be that soon, but they do a pretty good job of here's a couple of new characters. We don't want to overload you. Here's a basic beat of the story, which will come back into play. They want the broadcast energy transmitter. Serpentor has been captured. We have a totally new environment. There's a lot of stuff going on. On top of that, they needed to write out a lot of Joes because there's a lot of new characters getting ready to come into play. The 1987 line is here, and they got to take the showcase, so they'll sell those figures. So when they get to Cobra Law, there's a lot of just just take them off the board so we can focus on the new guys. But all of that stuff is coming together very well. We won't go into it too deep in this because we're just getting started, Jaren, but do you have any initial thoughts on how you feel about the movie now?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is awesome. Seeing Nemesis Enforcer just going full bore down, cutting things down and just yanking Cobra Commander out of that stun is pretty incredible. I love that the fight was just over. He picks up the tank thing and then that's it. It was the Havoc, right? That's what he picked up.
Yeah, he breaks it in half, kind of.
Yeah, he just picks up the Havoc. All the Joes that were fighting, you don't see them anymore. They're just no, not messing with that guy.
There's a lot of really very specific frames of this movie that kind of live on. That scene where Nemesis Enforcer throws Snowjaw by the ankle. That scene where that Cobra Law guard throws Quick Kick into the thing by his foot. That scene, I don't know why it's all impact stuff, but that scene where Pythona grabs the Crimson Guard and bashes his head in it, leaves an impact in the wall. She hits him so hard. that stuff is just like, I'm just like, I can close my eyes and see it. Though that's so certain scenes of animation just live on so well. And yes, all that stuff with Nemesis Enforcer rules. It was, again, the only thing we have ever had until recently that gave us any real direction on these characters. We'll talk towards the end of the run a little bit about how does Globulus work into a Joe-verse of any sort, your personal fictional universe. I'll talk a lot about how I used Globulus as a kid because it was tough to, you got a lot of leaders. How do you make them all work? And so I got a lot to say about that because I was like this then and I'm like this now. I want to make everything that's in G.I. Joe fit into one bubble, one world. And because of the clashing continuities, that was always very challenging. And this was the first thing I remember as a kid that really was like, it's different in the comic than it is over here. And you're going to have to choose which one you are, which one is your play style, which universe are you embracing. Yeah. So that's it for today. I would love to hear people's thoughts on G.I. Joe the movie then. How do you feel about G.I. Joe the movie now? Specific memories of the stuff that I'm trying to bring back, the 5-day syndication block, the Sergeant Slaughter opening and intros and outros, which I would really, really, really like to track down for posterity, for preservation. Thoughts on Nemesis Enforcer, Cobra La Garde, anything that we're seeing new for the first time. And yeah, we'll talk about those. Anything that you guys have to say, we'll try to get into later episodes as we dive into specific details that pertain to each unique episode. That's going to do it for us today. You can contact us at anythingjoespod@gmail.com if you have thoughts on this episode or G.I. Joe the movie in general. You can also find us on social media on Twitter and Instagram at anythingjoespod, and we would love to hear from you. We'll be back in 2 short weeks where we will continue the grind through the amazing G.I. Joe animated movie. And we look forward to talking to you then in just 2 short weeks where anything's available for discussion here on Anything Joe.